737 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you're doing well. Happy President's Day to you. A lot of folks not working. I am, and I appreciate Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson checking in with us. Senator, always great to have you on. I'm sure that you know that there is going to be a Not My President rally or protest at the state capitol, supposedly today at noon. A bunch of TDSers, I would say. What do you folks do to prepare for all that?
Well, good morning, Dan. Always good to be with you. Happy President's Day. I'm celebrating today the fact that we have Donald Trump in the White House.
Yep.
And I think most Tennesseans are doing that as well. I love the First Amendment. I love the fact that people can express their views even when they disagree with me. I've been a protester. I protested at the state capitol, protested against the state income tax years ago, and now I have been protested, and today people are going to do that. We have amazing state troopers that do a great job allowing people to express their First Amendment rights and exercise their right to free speech, but also protecting the Capitol. And you're right, the Capitol is actually closed today, so there won't be a lot of people there to listen to them.
So there's a number of issues I want to talk to you about. One of the ones that we're talking about today, it's actually the Daily Dan poll, which you don't know, but it's a poll on YouTube. If you watch us on YouTube, like and subscribe, you can take the Daily Dan poll. Today's poll is about lowering the bus driver age to 21. Right now it is 25, as you perhaps know. Mike Sparks has come up with the idea. I think he's actually filed legislation where he wants to lower that back down to the age of 21. Again, right now it is the age of 25, the minimum age. There is a massive shortage of bus drivers here in the state of Tennessee. So what do you think? I mean, as a Senate Majority Leader, is that something you could get behind, lowering the minimum age to 21?
It is, Dan. I think we should empower our local school boards. I trust them to make responsible decisions. Obviously, anyone who applies for that position is going to have to submit to a drug test, to a background check. I trust our local administrators at the local level. You're right. We have a significant shortage. Think about this. We have 21, 22, 23-year-olds flying airplanes for the U.S. military. They're driving tanks. They're driving heavy equipment. Certainly, I trust our local school folks to make those decisions and do adequate checks to make sure that even if someone is below the age of 25, that they're responsible enough to fulfill that job, because we do have a significant shortage.
Governor Lee has proposed a $1 billion grant to tackle our $30 billion road projects backlog. Number one, is that enough? Which, I mean, clearly just do the math. That's $29 billion short, but it'll help. But what do you think the priorities will be? Does the governor, number one, where's that money going to come from? But number two is, what will that $1 billion be used for if he can utilize it?
Sure, Dan. First of all, let's set the stage a little bit. The way we pay for road projects in the state of Tennessee, and that's both the maintenance to maintain the existing roadways we have, and also for new construction, to widen roads, to build new roads, to add interstate interchanges, things of that nature. The way that has traditionally been funded is through the gas tax. Every time you or your listeners or I fill up our car with gas, we're paying a certain number of cents in federal gas tax and state gas tax. That state gas tax goes into a dedicated fund and can only be used to maintain roads. Kind of makes sense, because the more you drive, the more gas you buy, and so the more you're contributing to our roads. Also, Tennessee is one of the most traversed states by out-of-state drivers. If you've ever been on I-40 going to Memphis or to Knoxville, you know how many trucks are out there on the road. So those trucks and the truck drivers, they're buying diesel. They may be from out of state, but they're buying diesel in Tennessee, and they're paying diesel tax to help us maintain our roads. That's a good system. Unfortunately, though, it's not keeping up. If you drive a car today, there's a good chance you're getting better gas mileage than you did 20 years ago. So you may be driving the same number of miles, but you're buying fewer gallons of gas. And so the system we have to pay for roads is not keeping up. And so what we've done over the last several years is supplement that fund. The governor is proposing an additional $1 billion into the road fund this year, but just 2 years ago, we put $3 billion into the road fund. Another thing the governor's proposing this year is diverting another tax that you pay when you buy tires. Every time you buy tires, there's a specific tax that's added onto that purchase. That generates about $80 million a year ongoing, and that's been going to the general fund. The governor's proposing putting that into the road fund as well. So we have the existing funding mechanism. It's not keeping up, and so we're supplementing it with general fund revenue. I support doing that, and thankfully Tennessee is in a fiscal position that we have the excess revenue to do that. We're not raising taxes. We're not taking money from any other source. We're not robbing Peter to pay Paul, if you will. We've got the excess revenue. We also passed the Transportation Modernization Act a couple of years ago, which I've been on your show talking about, which is going to streamline the way these road projects are built and hopefully get them done for less money. So we haven't completely solved the problem yet, but this additional $1 billion is going to go a long way to helping relieve the traffic congestion we have in Middle Tennessee.
There is talk as well about repealing Tennessee's grocery tax. It was proposed, but it was not included in the governor's budget. Questions are now being asked, it was in the Tennessean, if the Senate will actually bring this up.
I am 1,000% adamantly opposed to repealing the grocery tax. And let me tell you why, Dan. The thing that makes Tennessee work and makes us the best fiscally managed state in America, and we've been designated that by numerous outside third-party entities, we are the best fiscally managed state in America. We're the lowest tax state, and we're the least indebted state in America. We have AAA credit ratings, meaning all three credit ratings agencies have given us a AAA credit rating. One of the reasons is because we get the vast majority of our money through a consumption tax. And that what makes that consumption tax work, Dan, is that everybody chips in. No matter how much money you make, the richer you are, the more you buy, the more sales tax you pay. But even if you're on the lower end of the spectrum from an income standpoint, you're chipping in a little bit. That's the problem with our federal income tax is you got too few people pulling the wagon and too many people riding in the wagon. A broad-based consumption tax, including paying a little bit of tax on your groceries, makes that tax applicable to everybody. So even the person with a smaller amount of income is contributing a small amount into to help make our government run. That's what makes it work. So I'm adamantly opposed to abolishing the tax on groceries.
All right, Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson joining us. One last question here. I'm a big advocate for trade schools, massive advocate for trade schools. Headline is Governor Lee wants to send students to Tennessee trade schools. The governor's proposal calls for $12 million each year out of the Tennessee Lottery Fund to pay for these scholarships to attend Tennessee colleges of applied technology. I love the idea, but some folks raising the alarm that we're running out of lottery funds, as they're saying there's a lot of straws there in that cup. And so the question now, number one, is there going to be enough for the Hope scholarships? Because you and I both know Hope scholarships for in-state four-year universities also come out of the lottery funds. And you also have lottery funds from sports gambling, which is going towards building and repairing schools. And according to Channel 5, lottery sales overall are down. And so all that to say, there is concern, they say cautious concern, about the fact that there may not be enough for this $12 million to send folks to trade school in the state of Tennessee.
Well, like you and like the governor, I'm a big fan of trade schools. We need pipe fitters, we need pipe fitters, we need welders, we need HVAC repairmen and women. We need folks that do things with their hands. Not everyone needs to go to a four-year college and get an English degree. And we've got a very robust trade school system. We call them colleges of applied technology all across the state of Tennessee. We need more kids going to those types of schools. With regards to the lottery fund, the lottery was established a little over 20 years ago. And we have been very, very conservative with that. Other states have made the mistake of overpromising and under-delivering, and we haven't done that in Tennessee. We have a huge, massive surplus reserve fund in our lottery. We've also added the sports wagering money, which you just mentioned, and we did pass legislation during a special session that's going to allow some of that money, the taxes generated from that sports wagering, to go to our public schools for capital projects. We did, however, put a mechanism in there, Dan, that says that if there is any shortfall in the traditional lottery that funds the Hope Scholarship, that funds Tennessee Promise, and that funds these scholarships to colleges of applied technology, that it will come from this surplus revenue from the Sports Wagering Council. And we've made that very clear to even the folks that will be receiving these capital dollars from that sports wagering fund. So I think we've dotted all of our I's, crossed all of our T's. We've got mechanisms in place. Again, we are the most conservative, best fiscally managed state in America. We know how to manage these revenues and make sure that we don't overpromise and to not be able to deliver on those promises that we've made. So I'm very comfortable with what the governor's proposed. We'll keep an eye on it. And if we need to tweak it along the way, we certainly will.
All right. Have a great day. State Majority Leader Jack Johnson joining us on Super Talk 99.7. And as always, appreciate your analysis and your input and your availability for Nashville's Morning News.
Thanks, Dan.
All righty. You know what's interesting? I got this 40-minute audio montage.
The people demand and deserve an
active Bill Clinton
government on their side. But they don't want a government that wastes money, a government that costs more and does less. They voted for change. They wanted a literal revolution in the way government operates.
This is Bill Clinton.
And now you and I must deliver.
So he is going on. This is a 40-minute speech on C-SPAN. And he's talking about federal job cuts.
And cut costs by $10 million per year.
Yep.
Today I have called you, the members of the cabinet,
went through, and this was, this is again 40 minutes long. I'll see if I can post this. But Bill Clinton and Al Gore, here's what they say. Everybody's freaking out about Doge, and everybody's freaking out about Elon Musk and Donald Trump and so forth. In this compilation, in his first weeks, Bill Clinton ordered a 100,000 job reduction in government. 100,000. Now, was there a hue and cry like we're seeing right now? No, of course not. Over 8 years, he cut 380,000 federal jobs, a 16% decrease. This is a Democrat. When you want to talk about how the Democrat Party has changed, all you got to do is look back at Bill Clinton. They say that how did he reduce those $380,000 federal jobs? They say it was largely driven by the Reinventing Government initiative, spearheaded by Al Gore, to streamline operations and reduce bureaucracy. And the result, the deficit was erased. The U.S. ran a budget surplus for the first time in decades. Today, annual interest payments on the national debt have doubled in 4 years, reaching $1.17 trillion, now exceeding the entire U.S. defense budget. And so, as they say in this story, history proves that this can be done. America is $36 trillion in debt. So why don't we just learn from the past? I can't believe I'm going to say this. We need to learn from the Democrats. And we have. And that's why Donald Trump is wanting to do what he's calling for and currently doing, which is cutting jobs, cutting federal jobs, cutting federal waste, and cutting down on all of that bureaucracy. And that's what you need to do if you're possibly going to try to even come close to thinking about balancing the federal budget.